Welcome, everyone. This is a Pageant Planet production for contestants who want to be inspired and discover how to win the crown. I'm Pageant Planet's Ladoue McMullen, and I'm joined by Miss America 2018, our friend Cara Mund. And today we are talking stage presence and fashion as we review the 2020 Best Teen Evening Gowns. So, Cara, what do you like most about evening gown?
Oh, I love that evening gown is the portion of competition where you can be really elegant. And more than likely, your judges have already met you. They get a sense of your personality. Evening gowns often at the end of the competition. And so you might be feeling the most nervous because it's getting closer to the results. And so I love how it's this area of competition where you can really just, exemplify what it means to be elegant and show your poise and your confidence, even if you're facing some of those nervous reactions.
So you competed as a teen.
Mm-hmm.
Of the challenges about selecting an evening gown for that age division?
Yeah, I think teen is the toughest area to find a gown. Depending on the competition, a lot of times, pageants have extended up to age 19. So you might be a teen in college, and having to find that gown that fits the expectation of a teen without looking too miss. For me personally, I'm pretty short, and so it was always having to make sure I looked my age. I know one tip I got was a lot in color. So if you feel like you are have an older presence for a teen, then going with a lighter color or a more playful color. If you are younger and you're trying to show more maturity, going a little bit with an older color or darker color or a bolder print or anything like that, is kind of the feedback that I got. And I always feel like judging a teen competition too, it's the toughest part is that I know that there's a lot of these challenges with teens, and a 14-year-old is very different than a 19-year-old, and so keeping that in mind. But the judges don't always know the age of the contestants, and so trying to find what fits you, what makes you comfortable, but also looks teen.
Yeah, I know she's not a teen, but I always speak to the Olivia Jordan reference. And when
Mm-hmm.
she was USA, she was one of the oldest contestants. And she didn't look old by any means, but because there were such fervent followers of Miss USA, I feel like the messaging probably got to her as she kind of heard about things that were being said. But her and her team were very smart. She wore a hot pink ball gown for someone that's 27 years old. Probably, maybe I shouldn't say probably, maybe she wouldn't choose that if she was just picking something to wear out, but it works perfectly to kind of counteract that piece that could have been perceived as a negative to some. She really tried to make her styling work for her in that respect. So I love that you gave that example. Color is critical. And one thing I've heard about teens, and let me know what you think of this, is you have your whole life to wear black. So as a teen, don't wear black. Have you ever heard that before?
I hadn't, but that makes sense. And I gravitated towards black gowns as teens, and I kept being put in like purples or pinks. So I resonate with that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to share the article that Pageant Planet posted for the top 10 evening gowns for teens of the year 2020. And we're going to go one by one, and we're going to talk about things we liked about these evening gowns and maybe some tips that can help you as you select your evening gown for your next pageant. So, Cara, can you see Haley's gown here?
Yes.
So Haley is Miss Teen United States. This is Haley Hellman. I'm sorry. So Cara, give us your opinion on this gown.
Oh, I love this gown. And I find trains can be kind of difficult, especially if you are in a smaller stage or, that they can, if there's props on stage, I mean, having a piano, a lot of times you don't know that. And so I've always loved the train, but I've always been told to kind of stay away. But I mean, she definitely is coming off as a very mature teen. But yet the train, almost because of the material and how it's flowing, it still gives this teen vibe where I don't know if a miss could wear this. It fits her well, it looks great. I mean, it was a stunner as soon as I saw it.
I mean, as a miss, it may come across like a wedding gown.
Mm-hmm.
But for a teen, it does still feel very age appropriate and light. That train doesn't feel like it's dragging her down. It really just feels like an extension of her. One thing I love about this is I find with a lot of gowns that end up transitioning to maybe looks like a tulle or something that's like a textured sheer fabric. oftentimes that can cut you right off at the knee. But what I like here is this embellishment in the front looks to extend amongst that, which one brings the line of sight down so she looks taller, and two, make sure that it looks really elegant versus a really jarring seam right across the knee, which can totally disrupt the overall look of a gown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And as you say that, I keep thinking tulle. I wore that a lot as a teen, and when
Oh,
I
maybe it is
told
tulle.
Miss, yeah, I think you said tulle because I was thinking, I was like, oh, I don't think I've worn tulle as a Miss, but I wore it a lot as a teen. And I love that aspect too because it does make it seem a little more youthful.
Mm-hmm.
But yet still, I mean, this gown still looks so mature. It looks great on her.
Yeah, I love her posing too. I think we're so used to seeing hands on the hips that
Yeah.
it's like bizarre when you don't see one on the hips, but she just looks at ease in this gown. It's probably not comfortable at all, but it looks really comfortable, and that's half the battle, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because a lot of times it is tight, it is cinching. I mean, she looks great. She looks great.
In our video of the best Miss gowns, we talk about horsehair, a horsehair hem, and I'm not seeing a ton of detail in this image of it, but it does look like at the seam at the end of the train here, there may be some horsehair hemming, and that's what we talked about in the other video. Was it just sits on top of the stage, so it just it looks like a cloud. It looks like she's literally coming out of a cloud. It just floats so beautifully. It feels so ethereal, which is a perfect word to describe a teen. Love this. They'll love this gown. I can totally see why it's on the top 10 list.
Yeah, me too. It's beautiful.
All right. Next is International United Miss North Carolina Junior Teen. This is Allie Ingram. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, the yellow is bringing out the sunshine, the happiness. I can tell, like, from her personality, the fact that she chose this gown. She's probably very bubbly, and I love it. I think it's also a very teen appropriate gown. And again, like I said, it's so hard to find those teen gowns. So I'm not sure how old she is, but it's definitely the type of gown that it's too mature for a preteen. It's a little too teen for a Miss, and she's fitting so perfectly in the category she's competing in.
I mean, I love a yellow peplum, as you can see behind me. So I obviously love this gown. I love that the beading at the waist is so simple and so perfect. And the ruffle is just such a nice touch. You don't see a ton of ball gowns that have a unique element to it. It's hard to kind of disrupt a ball gown. They've been done a million times, and this is just something that we haven't seen before. So I really like that they took a risk. And like you said, I find the neckline, she looks like a younger teen from what I'm seeing in this picture. So I love that the neckline is more modest. Like you said, it's too young for a Miss. Obviously, a Miss would open that up, and maybe the straps would be a little more delicate. So this gown is just picture perfect teen. And then it looks like she has some earrings that match this waistline perfectly as well. So everything's working together. And I love this gown. I love so much about it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cute. And like you said, it's very different. Like, I don't think I've seen a contestant compete in something like this. So it would be one that sticks with you as a judge, not only because of the color, but also just the unique style.
Yeah, and if your pageant does require you to wear a sash on your evening gown during the evening gown competition, this is the right way to do it. So she's worn it in a way that doesn't cover any of the important elements. You really don't want it to cover the neckline, especially, I mean, 2 inches up, this could have been a totally different look. It really would have disrupted the entire look of the gown if it had covered it. So really work with the sash to make sure that, one, they can read it appropriately, and two, that it just sits really nicely and doesn't detract from any of the elements of the gown that you worked so hard to pick the perfect gown. Why would you cover it up? So it's obviously a challenge adding a sash, but this is the right way to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And a lot of times too, the sash does take away from the gown. It's like the first thing I look at as a judge or as a viewer. And I almost didn't even recognize it in this photo. It's not where my eye went at all.
Yeah, and it can go many ways. Sometimes people try to make it so discreet that instead they make it more conspicuous, where it's kind of like underneath things and they're weaving it in and out, and it just becomes more of an eyesore than it does work in your favor. So whoever helped Allie get this sash on, you also get an A+, because like Cara said, you're almost blind to it. You don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Good job, team. All right. Next is Miss Arizona High School America. This is Chloe Hiller. Talk to me, Cara.
Oh, I love it. Again, bright color. As a teen, it's perfect. It almost could be a borderline miss if you're, an older miss that's trying to look a little younger. But it just complements her so well. I've had a very similar neckline before when I wore it, and I felt very confident in it. It almost made me feel more mature. So I'm not sure how it made her feel, but she's definitely exuding that confidence. I mean, the earrings too, that looks like a perfect match, just like how we talked about in our miss video of making sure that you have earrings that complement and don't really take away from the gown.
Yeah, she could have gone a couple different directions with the earrings because as you can see here, this waistband. Oh, I can zoom. That's a new feature.
Ooh,
Did that zoom for you, Cara?
yes. Oh,
Okay, perfect. So I always say when you're choosing your earrings for a gown, it needs to be whatever the earring color is, it needs to be reflected in the gown somehow. I can't, now that I'm closer, I wonder if it's got both orange and AB stones. So these are AB stones. If you're not familiar, there's two different types of stones. There's a clear stone and an AB stone. A clear is just that. It's clear. There's no other color represented. AB stands for Aurora Borealis, like the Northern Lights. So whatever is hitting it in that moment, it kind of picks up those flecks. So her gown here has these AB stones, it looks like. So in her earring, it looks like she has both orange and AB. So what you wouldn't want to do is use a clear stone with an AB accent on the gown itself. It'll look like you just went out and found the first earring that made some kind of sense, but the judges do notice. You might think they don't notice, but on stage, it really does under the lights. So I love that she was able to incorporate a true AB to match it perfectly with that. And I too love the neckline. I think it's something that's really underdone. I'd like to see it done more personally. But look at the bottom of the flow of this gown.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
imagine when she turns, what kind of a show she's putting on.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Your eye just
like
gravitates for it.
look at these. I mean, it reminds me of in Sedona, Arizona, when they have those gorgeous mountains that are just carved out from erosion. There's all different colors, and it's just like a work of art. And she clearly is just magical in this gown.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of like how we've talked about before, is making sure that when you have a gown like this, you do practice in it. Because
Mhm.
if you aren't feeling comfortable in it, I could feel as if that bottom is too overpowering. Where she has
Sure.
really figured out how to get it to flow so nicely. I mean, it's stunning. And then additionally to the little cutout right above the waistband, I like how it's not too big. And I've seen that a lot too, where contestants, if they're missed, they feel like it needs to be really big. And if a teen, I remember having one where they said close it, and I was like, okay, but that it's not going to fit right. So she's done a really great job too of still making it teen while also looking mature.
Another great sash placement too.
Mm-hmm.
Worth
Yes.
saying, these girls have good teams. All right, next is 2020 International Junior Miss Connecticut Junior Teen. This is Madeline Ray Johnson. So, Cara, you take it from here.
Ooh, I love my I went straight to the off the shoulder. They look like beads. I'm not exact. Ooh, yes. Oh no, maybe it's not beads. Maybe it's applique. No, those are beads right down there.
Yep,
Yeah.
beads here.
Yes. I love that almost makes it look a little more teen.
Hmm.
As we talked with the delicate straps, I could see like a miss not having that, but this has really made it, much more age appropriate. I also love those earrings. Those are stunning. And it, I mean, it really complements her skin tone, her hair. She just looks so stunning and it almost looks effortless. Now I know we talked in the first one about the tulle. This doesn't quite look like tulle, but yet is a teen enough fabric.
Hmm.
I think if it was like a silk, it might look too miss.
Yeah.
But I think this looks perfect for her age category.
I agree. And when I was zoomed in, I noticed too that it looks like there's way more detail than we can even see in this
Mhm.
frog picture, but it looks like it's mimicking this beautiful beading across the bodice too. So it's
Ooh.
tying in all the different elements of the gown. I agree. This is where my eyes went to straight to her shoulder because the way they've chosen to combine both the appliques that are on the dress already plus the beads. It's just something you're not seeing. You are seeing a lot of off the shoulder and a lot of draping on the shoulder right now. But this is something that I don't see a lot, or I hadn't seen before. So I really, really love a unique taste on it. They probably did this, obviously, well, I shouldn't say they obviously, or they probably did, but my guess is this was custom. This piece, at least, maybe the gown was something that was either off the rack or on a couture line that she just bought. But this definitely looks like it was added aftermarket, done absolutely beautifully. So, whew, gorgeous. I
Yeah.
wish I looked like that when I was a teen.
I know, me too, me too.
Nope.
But just a subtle, like, I mean, just adding something a little bit. I mean,
Mhm.
it can really change the gown.
Yeah, and her hair, you just saw it kind of glowing against the backdrop here. Thick, gorgeous, not working against the gown. I love that it actually comes back off her face here. So you really are able to see the shoulder and the earring in its full effect. So it's working in tandem with the gown. It's funny that we've mentioned very little about the gown itself when we're talking about Madeline. But clearly there's a lot of pieces that are working together for the presentation as a whole. So it's not just the gown that's doing the work. It's all the different pieces that they've chosen to use that are telling the story.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Stunning. Stunning, stunning. All right, next, number 6. This is Gabrielle Reyna. This is USA National Miss Centennial State Junior Teen. So another fabulous color. Cara, thoughts?
Ooh, I love this. Again, a bright color for a teen. I love off or like one-shouldered gowns.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love them. I think they're great for teens. They're also good for miss as well. I love that it has like the side piece of material that's not too thick, so it's not a cape. That almost would make it look a little more miss.
Yep.
But then with the color and this beading, that looks like AB stones as well. And so, as you were saying, the earrings, I was also thinking shoes. I know a lot of contestants will either wear like the AB crystals on their shoes
Mm.
and have silver crystals, and that's another one that, as a judge, when I see someone's foot and it doesn't line up with their gown, making sure that your crystals all the way around are really matching. But I love this, and it's not. I mean, it makes a statement, but yet she still shines in it, so it doesn't take
Mm.
away from her at all. And I'm thinking she's a little bit of an older teen, so she did a good job of like that borderline between not looking too miss, still
Mm-hmm.
looking teen, but then also not. I've had it before where I've seen directors put contestants in gowns that are clearly too young for them, but yet it looks like a teen gown. So she did a good job of kind of towing that line.
Yeah, to me, this is a lot of fabric at the bottom. I am hoping that she was able to walk in it because to me, it's a little too long as it stands in this photo. You do want your gown to just kind of touch the floor. I'm sure she was able to walk in it because I'm sure she wouldn't have worn a gown that she couldn't walk in. But I love that there seems to be, when the fabric comes from the waistline, it looks like there's a little bit of a texture here, almost like a pleating, which matches perfectly with the pleating on the top piece. So I do love that the top and the bottom seem to work together. And let's quickly talk about her nails. These are perfect pageant nails. Not too long, not too short. The shape is perfect. The color is not distracting. It's natural. That's something we talk about all the time. And it's actually a common question we receive as well. What kind of nails should you do? And this is a great example. Textbook, perfect pageant nails.
Yeah, goes with anything she's wearing as
Mhm.
well. So keeping
Yep.
that in mind too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you mentioned the earrings, so I wanted to give you an nice zoom. So it looks like she has coral and probably some AB stones here, and then again you have your coral and your AB in the waistline. So details matter. That consistency matters. It just takes it the next level. I remember I saw a fun fashion once, and it was royal blue and cheetah print, and the contestant had, and I saw tippy top after tippy top for fun fashion. And then this girl came out and she had glued leopard fabric to the platform of the tippy top. And I was like, wow, that's all it took to elevate that to be something different. And it clearly, I was like, wow, oh my gosh, this all works together. And those details make a difference when a judge is scoring you.
Yeah, it does. And it's something that you remember to
Yeah.
this day.
I mean, that was 2013, 2014, and I'm still talking about that girl's dang shoes. So clearly it worked. All
Yeah.
right. Number 5 is National American Miss Junior Teen. This is Erica Haywood.
Oh, I
Take it
love
away,
her.
Cara.
I love this. Under lights, you can tell that this color just, all different at like viewpoints. It's going to look a little different. The shimmery, the iridescent. I love it. I love too the part right across the collarbone.
Hmm.
I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And again, this is one of those gowns that I feel like would be even more beautiful in person. Again, we kind of like the white gown we had talked about, the off the shoulder. I love too how it's not too big, and that's something I see a lot too when contestants haven't tailored it. Is that off the shoulder just doesn't quite fit right, or
Hmm.
it's showing too much shoulder. And this is done so well as well, and you can tell that she just feels very confident in it. I mean, she is shining.
She is. And I think too, obviously this is the crowning glory of this gown.
Hmm.
I don't know what it's called, but the body jewelry. My assumption is this gown probably was originally designed with just the straps in mind, and this was either a custom gown or they had this piece particularly custom made because it just is so. I mean, look at it; matches perfectly with this neckline, and that's by design. I can be sure of it. And then here's another example of the sash. So the sash is perfectly tucked. And then you can see they affixed it here where all the bunching of the fabric was. That's another thing to keep in mind is when you are affixing your sash to your gown, you want to make sure you're adhering it in a place that's not going to damage the gown long term. This is very, very smart of Erica's team to secure it within the bunching of that fabric, because if there is a snag or a hole after the fact, which you hate to even think about considering they probably spent a very good amount of money on this gown, and you don't want it to be damaged long term. So this is a very, very smart placement. And again, not distracting at all. The gown is still very much able to be seen. And then, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it just looks so pretty.
Oh,
So pretty.
yeah. It's stunning. It's stunning.
And my guess is that it's probably a back slit there too. Would you think so?
Yeah, I would think so. And that's another thing too, is if you have a gown that's like this style, is making sure that you can walk in it. There's so many
Mhm.
contestants I see that feel so restricted, or they're, staying there trying to move the side. Also, like recognizing that gowns like this aren't always meant to be moved.
Mhm.
So making sure that it feels comfortable, it feels natural, that the gown is actually has that ability. But it does. It seems like just the way that she's standing, the presence that she has, I'm thinking that back slit has to be there because she seems to just be walking so effortlessly.
Right. Like you said, gowns of this fabric are usually fitted exactly, and they don't have a lot of give and movement like a chiffon or a jersey or a crepe gown would. This is not a fabric with any stretch in it at all. So it has to be both perfectly tailored so it looks right, because this fabric, not tailored correctly, could you would see every single ripple or bunch under the lights, but also you need to be able to walk in it, like you said. So
Hmm.
stunning, different, well done.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful.
Number
Memorable for sure.
4. Yes, this is one of Erica's sister queens. This is National American Miss Teen, Delaney Walker.
Oh, I love this too. I mean, the yellow complements her so well. I again love the one shouldered. Oh, I love it. I love it. The yellow earrings. I mean, it's a stunner.
It is a stunner. And actually, this is the first of 3 yellow gowns in a row, and it's worth it. Yellow was clearly the color of the year in 2020 pageantry, in my opinion. I obviously at Pageant Planet we follow a lot of pageants, so this one just kind of happened to be a lot of yellow this year. And Delaney certainly earned her place on this list. Again, like you said, one shoulder. I love this dip. It reminds me so much of the 90s, and the 90s are so in style right now in lifestyle fashion. So I love this element coming through. Cara, you're a bit younger than I am, but did you have this element in any of your dresses growing up, this V in the front?
I did, and I love that too because for some
Mhm.
reason, as a shorter individual, it always make me look a little taller. So
Mhm.
I would look for that. And I agree. If it would be just cut straight across, I don't think the gown would have as much of a emphasis or a presence. But because it does make that V, I mean, it complements so well, especially with that one shoulder.
Yeah, and it looks like from the detail, it has horizontal lines of beading that are coming into what looks like a center point here, which is doing a great job of cinching the waist and defining the waist. I think if it didn't have those elements, you may not get the dramatic effect from this V that you're hoping for, but because of that, it's identifying the waist and then it's creating length below it. So it's not getting lost. I think without those, it may kind of, you might have a hard time really locating her waist, in which case optically wouldn't be ideal, but this really is stunning.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
stunning.
beautiful.
Beautiful. All right, next up is National All-American Miss Teen finalists. This is Sanjana Yenluri, and here's her yellow gown, her variation of yellow. Cara, what do you think?
Oh, I love this. I love this. Now, she looks like she might be a little bit of an older teen. And so I feel like she did another really great job, too, of kind of towing that line between making sure that her gown still looks teen, but yet she still looks so mature. She has this nice presence. I mean, I think she did such a great job. And it also looks very different than the other yellow gown, in a sense that it's giving a totally different vibe.
Yeah, and if you remember Allie's gown, I think Allie was number 9, maybe. She had that ball gown car with the peplum pieces, and
Yeah.
that was more of a satin. And even still, like this is a yellow ball gown with the ruffle, and it yet looks completely different from that gown and the gown that we just saw. I love these tiers. It looks like there's some wire thread that are helping these stand out against each other. Sanjana, I'm pretty sure is a tall contestant, and this just makes her look even taller. Oh my gosh, like she is a statue in this. And again, I love the uniqueness of seeing this straight across strapless. We don't see that a lot. And because Sanjana is taller, she doesn't need a lot of line of sight added to her shoulder. So she took advantage of that with a gown that is more unique in design, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it looks perfect for her.
Yeah, so it's a second pair of yellow earrings that we saw too. I don't think we were able to see Allie's earrings, but let's see what our last yellow gown contestant has earring wise, see if they all went the same route. So, next is Miss Teen USA 2020, Kalani Aruda. Another yellow gown, absolutely beautiful, pretty similar to the number 4 gown, and I remember her name. Let me go back and look so I can be respectful of that. Delaney. Okay, so similar in shape to Delaney, but definitely some different beading. What are you seeing on this gown?
Oh my goodness, I love it. Like just how we talked about with Delaney's gown, the V. I mean, it really accentuates her, makes her look
Mm.
longer, or taller. I'm not sure how tall she is in person, but then I love the flower because
Mhm.
it does bring in the Hawaii, accent. And as someone who's very proud of my state, that's it's something that I can just tell that she has that pride in, the state that she's representing, and she just seems so elegant, so beautiful, so confident. The yellow really complements her well, and I remember watching the prelims and the finals, and hers was one that just continuously stuck out, and is done so well.
I'm trying to figure out. It looks like she's wearing different earrings. Does it look like
Oh,
that to you? Honestly, it might just be stuck in her hair. But if you remember Catriona Gray when Miss Universe wearing an ear cuff and something else on the other side, but I can't quite tell. But it does look like, regardless, it looks like she has an earring that has both pink and yellow. So as you can see in the bodice here, there's many pink tones, maybe even some opal tones that have a bluish tint to them. But just the different colors are just so spectacular, and they are picking up perfectly this pink. Color blocking in teens is so easy to make yourself look like a fresh teen. I love color blocking. I love being able to mix and match vibrant colors. We don't see a lot of teens brave enough to do it. It's become more common in the past few years, but I love that she took advantage of that and highlighted it in her accessories.
yeah. And yeah, just stunning, absolutely stunning, and memorable, very memorable.
Yes. And same deal here on the bottom. So this isn't a horsehair hem like we talked about, but it does have, like we said with Sanjana's, it's a wire hem. So it creates that effect that kind of is just sitting on top of the stage. Gorgeous. So I think popular here in the teen, and there's one more to go. There's yellow and one shoulder were very popular in teen this year, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and I love it. Great styling.
Yeah, same. One shoulder is so underrated to me. When I see it, I'm just like, yes, like why don't more people do this?
Yeah, and it's hard to find one shoulder gowns because
Mhm.
I love it so much too, and it's so hard for me to find one. And then when I do find one, I feel tempted to like really want to love it. And so also recognizing that like not all one shoulders are going to fit you properly,
Mhm.
but you know it's such a great style and it's very memorable. Even though many of the top 10 have one shoulder, we don't see it as much, and so it's a great way to stand out.
My first winning teen gown was a yellow ball gown with one shoulder as well.
Oh, oh, I love it. Was
So
yellow your color?
yellow was my color. I wish I would have embraced it for Miss International, but when I watched so many of the previous year's videos, I never saw a yellow gown or I guess even in history, I was a pageant almanac. A lot of my friends call me that. Steven calls me that. And I remember gowns, and I couldn't remember one yellow gown where I was like, yes, that's my gown, and that is a national winner. And so I chickened out and I wore black. I still won Miss International in my black dress, but I really regret it. So this was my farewell gown behind me. And it was a custom sherry. And I was like, I need to wear yellow for my farewell. So I've embraced it ever since. But you've seen yellow kind of perk up in every stage of my life. And it's so important when you're picking your evening gowns to think of ways to identify your personality to the judges when you're not able to speak. So if there is a color that's your brand color, don't run away from it like I did. Again, I got lucky and it worked out for me, but I still always think about like I should have just done it anyway. But anyway, let's see who the heck number one is. Since we've seen so many gorgeous gowns, I can't even imagine what number one is.
Yeah.
Miss New Mexico Junior High America Riley Teeter. Let's see.
Oh,
Ooh, wow.
I love this. She looks like Cinderella. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. Again, the off the shoulder, like we've talked about, another obvious, style that's gone through with many of the teens.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like too, this is another like really great teen gown.
Mm-hmm.
She looks, so sophisticated, elegant, mature, but yet still a teen. Very age appropriate.
Agree. And I don't remember seeing any other of this color on our list so far, but this periwinkle, it's like a periwinkle or sky blue, really underrated on the pageant stage because I think a lot of people are fearful of pastel being washed out on stage. And it's a very real fear. It's not done a lot. And unless you're under the right lights, it really can disappear behind you into the background. So I love that she still went with that pastel. I'm loving these straps. Again, just this little detail takes this gown. So I just put my hand on the screen, but I obviously that you're not seeing that. But if we just pretend that you don't even see these straps, when they don't exist, it's still a beautiful gown. But just adding those, it's like, oh, one more thing, and your eyes are drawn to that, which then draw your eyes up to her. I just think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, and it flows so nice.
Mm-hmm.
I could see too, like if the background's black. I've competed at numerous pageants where the background is black, and
Mm-hmm.
this would just stand out so well compared to someone who is wearing a black gown that might just kind of disappear in the back, or a dark blue. This would definitely draw the judges' eyes in and make it very memorable as well. So if you know what your stage looks like, go you.
Yes. So overall, we said a lot of yellow. We saw a lot of A-line flowy too. We really did.
hmm
So with Riley's gown, with Chloe's gown, the orange. What were some other details? We saw a lot of wire hems. Here's another flowy A-line chiffon. A lot of off-the-shoulder details in this teen group. And just some other unique design elements. This neckline, the
hmm
peplum. Don't be afraid to take a chance with your gown, just in a way that if it's been done before, you can make it yours. And I say this to contestants all the time. You don't need to get a custom gown to make it look like a custom gown. You can find ways to zhuzh these up yourself in a way that would be cost effective, but still make it look like a custom piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. We aren't seeing any slits in these gowns, and
Mm,
that's something I see a lot of teens. It's so tempting to love the Miss gowns, and they are beautiful, but there's a time and a place for you to wear the higher slits. So recognizing that if you're going to have something, maybe it's just a little subtle, just to show a shoe. But so many of these are really showing that great aspect of not being a preteen, not being a miss, and really capitalizing on that being a teen contestant, which can be really difficult in finding the perfect gown.
We also saw a lot of soft curl hairstyles. That's something that works really well for the teen division. Here's another, here's another, here's another, just because it portrays a really great softness. And here's Erica with her gorgeous curls too. Just curls in general work beautifully for teen because they just have a natural freshness and softness to them. I think every single contestant has a soft curl or a curl of some kind. In their hairstyle for this category, which is unusual. Usually there's some differentiation. I just noticed that now. But for teens, obviously, if you're trying to figure out what your hairstyle could be or should be for your next pageant, if you're in the teen division, master the art of the pageant curl. If you can master the art of the pageant curl, it will serve you well throughout your entire life and for every single pageant. It's a safe bet, it's an easy bet, and it works for teens.
Yeah, I agree. And it lasts your whole life. It every aspect.
Yeah.
One of the best things I learned from pageantry.
Hair and makeup, absolutely.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add about teen evening gowns, Cara?
No, just that, I mean, these contestants, it's such an interesting time because there are so many difficulties between, if you have a fun fashion, then also looking mature in that and finding that teen category and what fits. But I think all of these women did such a great job. Their styling, we talked about the sashes, the earrings. I mean, you could tell that they all put over 100% into the effort of making sure that they look teen and that they shine.
Well, thank you, Cara, and thank you for listening and watching. If you have any feedback on this episode, I'd love for you to be able to weigh in and give us your perspective. But if you received any benefit from this show or from ones previous, please consider giving us a review or subscribing. It really is a small task, but it helps us reach more people. Take care.